Okay, so is it set up on your side?
I may have to use the link again, but like,
Hit F5.
okay.
It'll be right there at the top.
I mean, I. Oh yeah.
Okay, so we good now? Uh-oh. I lost you. Uh-oh. I went live and we immediately had a technical difficulty. This is awesome.
Like you that.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, you're cutting out really bad. What's up?
You know it.
That cut out. Let's try that again.
That's basically what I've been saying this whole time. Is like you dropped completely out of the voice chat.
Oh, see, on my side it was you that dropped out.
Ah. Okay.
Well, anyway, we started with the technical difficulty, so that means the stream's gonna be strong. I am John,
This is Nerd Leader.
and we are not in the same location. Nerd Leader
Ah.
was super cool enough to hop into voice chat with me, not on Discord. Stop asking. And I'm gonna play the new Oblivion remastered that nobody was clamoring for me to play, and he's gonna laugh at some of this janky nonsense with me. Although his reactions may be delayed by a few seconds, because information is not instantaneous.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know.
I'm sorry. Before we get started, I do want to point out that I mentioned last time that there were no local maps. I was wrong.
Oh.
I just didn't know how to access them. The way you access them is very weird. So, like I said, you just kind of like zoom in on the map, and then you hit the trigger again, and then it goes in. You hit the trigger to go out. It's
You know.
That's a little
T-
clunky, but whatever.
Until you started panning UV, I didn't realize you were, but then I recognized it instantly. So, how different would you say it makes the game feel that people look so different?
That part really doesn't change the feel of the game.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, here we go. This is the sort of thing I'm talking about. Did you see how that loaded in?
Yeah. Just kind of like, yeah, okay.
Go ahead. I'm listening. How can I help? I'm Brother Joffrey. What do you want?
You know, something I think that works about the writing in
Suddenly don't
this
have any
game.
sound.
No one but the Emperor is
Uh,
permitted to handle the amulet. Let me see it.
yeah.
You still over there?
Yeah. I guess if I turn the sound on of the game,
Oh,
which I
you
need
know
to do
what?
more of.
Okay, my bad. I turned down. I thought I was turning up the volume on my headset. I turned it down.
Ah.
Silly me. I'm sorry, but anyway, did you? Yeah, I didn't hear you. Did you see how that like jankiness like loaded?
Yeah.
Isn't that
I guess there's stuff like that that I don't tend to notice as much as other people. Because, like,
By the knife.
and I know it's just,
Is the
I
amulet
guess you could
sealed?
say Stockholm
Wonderful.
Syndrome or
How did
something.
you get this?
But, like,
What do you know of the Emperor's death?
I'm so used to games just trying so hard to do what they do. I'm just glad it worked.
Only the strange destiny of
I'd
playing?
just say Joffrey looks still pretty much the same.
Yeah, no, I mean everybody's still like you could still recognize all of the characters in this game. Like, okay, that's who this is. That's who this is, right?
Well, they definitely made some choices though.
Oh yeah.
Like The character I feel looks the most strikingly different
If
that
you
I've
hold
seen
on
so
to the
far is the
Emperor's will,
Emperor.
the Emperor seemed to
The
perceive
Emperor
some
did
threat
look
from
really
the demonic
different.
world of oblivion. The Prince of
I made a
Destruction
joke
may roam
while the
stable,
opening
is one of the
narration was
lords of
happening
oblivion. But the mortal world is protected
that
from
I
the Aether of
expected
oblivion by magical
Patrick
barriers.
Stewart, like partway through it, to be like, "These are the voyages of the
Ah.
Starship Enterprise," because he delivers those lines exactly the same way.
Now, I'm sure a room full of his bosses all simultaneously came when he did so.
I'm sure they did.
I'm not sure. Only the Emperor, the amulet of King.
Let me think the way he entered, or he reads that like
It is only the relic
introductory
of
movie
King.
line. They were probably like, yes, yes.
Use the amulet to light the dragon
Oh,
fires
yeah.
at the temple. With the Emperor dead and no new heir crowned, the dragon fires in the temple will be dark for the first time in centuries. It may be that the dragon fires protected us from a threat that only the Emperor was aware of.
Oh, so far this has been a no fast travel run. I'm gonna see how long I can keep that going. I don't exactly have that challenge on the table, but this was always a game that I liked walking around.
Yeah.
I am one of
Well, I
the
mean, that'll be
few existence
a way to test how different the
that years ago
balancing
I
is.
served as
Is
captain of Uriel's
the problem? The only problem I've had with doing that back in the day
called me into
is eventually you hit a point
a baby
where the
boy
roads are
sleeping
full
in
of
my
like lions and bears who will chase you from city to
His
city.
name is Martin. He serves Akatosh in the
I've
temple in the city
I
of
had
Turin.
moments in my first playthrough of Oblivion
Must go to
that I
court and
didn't know
find
how
him.
the
And
leveling
please,
worked,
let
and
me
I
know
thought
if
I
there's
found a
anything you
clever
need.
cheat
My resources
to
here
level
are
up
limited,
quickly, which
but I will
with
help in
the
any way I can.
open very easy lock.
Uh,
And
He is a priest in the. You need waste
Okay.
no time. You must find Martin before the enemy does.
here we go. Couldn't move and I got distracted. Fuck. I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
but you know, have you ever tried to play this game at level 1?
Yeah. I have
What?
I've done the level 1 challenge in this game. That
It's hard in its own way. Because you might be surprised how many flame atronachs they throw at you when you're level 1.
I recall it trivializing some parts of the game.
Oh yeah, it does. And I mean, your stats can become so high relative to your level and your skills that you can actually become quite powerful that way. It's just early on it can be rough. I remember doing that a long time ago and someone being like, "Man, he sucks at this game," and someone being like, "Well, he's level 1, but okay." Because I kept
Ooh.
running down a hall in Koch and getting killed by flame atronachs.
I do not believe that this like weird way that it loads the world is just like my rig only. I just do not believe that. But I gotta tell you, I don't see too many people talking about this. They just talk about the frame drops in the open world. They're like, oh, it's 40 frames, it's unplayable. It's like, my man, I come from the
Oh,
days of the NES. 40 frames is very playable.
I think the nostalgia is strong with this one. I watched someone like yesterday or whatever playing it because I was like, "Is this really a thing?" This guy will call it out whether he is or isn't because he's usually a pretty, basically just a hater.
Yeah.
But the whole time he was just screaming about how awesome this game was, like literally, like, it's fucking awesome. So I'm like, okay,
I mean, okay, if you like Oblivion, you'll like this.
uh, well, he likes Oblivion.
I like Oblivion, so I love this game. I do. Like,
Good.
I've got a lot. Like, I have a lot of critiques of this game, but it scratches the itch. You know what I mean? Like, if they just need to patch a couple of things, this will be great.
Yeah, one thing that looks different visually is so much grass being loaded in at once.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you talk about pop-in. You remember that Oblivion used to be a game that if you got your speed high enough and just ran, the world would have to catch up with you.
Yep.
Which I had a similar experience on Acid once. Where I guess my brain hadn't perceived that stuff, and I ran up. I was running through a field, and I stopped, and all the grass started popping in. I was like, whoa.
Oh no, my apparel's broke. There's a couple weird visual glitches with the game as well. I got shocked with electricity, and the visual effects stayed on me for much longer than the actual attack did.
I wonder if that's similar to how, like, remember in original Oblivion, sometimes arrows just wouldn't go away.
Yeah.
Like, you'd load and you'd still have an arrow in you. I know there was some way to get rid of them. I can't remember what it was, but
Well, okay, when I cast like heal or cure wounds or whatever it is in this, it fixed it because it does like a temporary thing on you as well.
Have you picked ingredients yet?
I want to say yes, but I'm not sure. I've picked up ingredients off the ground.
I assume they come back, but I was surprised to see them be fully picked. Like, the whole graphic of it just kind of changes shape and disappears when you pick it up. And I'm just kind of curious how that ultimately works. Like I said, I assume that if you picked all the mushrooms out there, waited a month, they'd be right there again. You know what I mean? But, like, I'm kind of curious what some of the crazier places in the game look like. Like, have you been in Alien Ruin yet?
No. Ooh.
So far, how accurate would you say the monster design is, or was it redesigned?
Oh shit, I'm out of magic.
This is the one where Chick Atronachs come from, right? I'm not saying that lore-wise there's never any before, but like...
I believe this... Well, I don't remember which astronauts appear in Morrowind, because it has been a super long time since I've sat down.
They're all in Morrowind, none of them have boobs.
Yeah.
Of course, some of them are a little different, like... Some will have damage reflection or magic reflection, stuff like that.
Yeah. I am.
You know, that's the, like, I don't remember in this. Do Clanfear have damage reflection?
Did what have damage reflection?
Clanfear. In Oblivion, did they have damage reflection?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Oh no.
I know that, like, that's the monster I've seen people be like, how do you beat this? Which I guess fair enough. Compared to modern games, it is quite the challenging beast.
So
I think some of it comes from it being small. Sorry, what?
Well, okay, I was on the discussion threads last night for this game because I was having some like I just wanted to see if people were having like the same experience I was having. Like, I sometimes need that test. Am I crazy?
Yeah.
And a number of people were having not the same but similar issues. Like I said,
I'm not saying I can tell you where to go, but the map layout is accurate enough that I recognize the cave you're in.
So far, it's pretty one-to-one because some of the early dungeons that they just kind of throw you at immediately, I remember like their layout, and I remember like, okay, this is exactly this layout. Man, I gotta tell you too, like, Oblivion was not afraid to throw like large dungeons at you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was both exasperated and pleasantly surprised about how long the trip is to some of those towers are. They're like, there's 3 caves on the way. And some of the alien runs are truly huge too. Some of them are teeny.
Man. Oh no. Time to shotgun potions. Yeah, fuck that guy.
You know, I wonder how some of the characters in this, with the way they're portrayed, will be received by a modern audience, like Pelennor.
Hmm. Wait.
Although, I'm also kind of curious how he'll be visually portrayed in this. Because if I remember, he's looked like a pretty normal dude when I talked to him.
Ah. Okay. This was another thing Oblivion wasn't afraid to do. Dead-end dungeons.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no.
So, like,
Gotta walk back.
so what was there?
The
Here's your
vampire patriarch. That's all that was
Ah.
going on there. But I gotta tell you, that was a tough fight.
Can you get up there?
No.
Yeah.
I tried.
I guess I forget on like Skyrim, these dungeons don't always have a boss treasure box or something like that.
Well, it's not that. It's just in Skyrim, like 9 out of 10 dungeons had a back door.
Or a loop that like made you fall down to the first door, yeah.
Have enough to level. We're gonna level.
You know, I was thinking about how that actually drove me nuts when I first played Skyrim. Not because I was like, oh no, way back to the beginning, but like, I kept always finding the ways back to the beginning and be like, how do I get in there? Whoa, tell me your secrets. Now see, that 12 virtues, do you always get that?
Yep.
So like, that's a difference in balancing.
Yep. But you can still only pick 3 stats.
Can you raise it past 5?
Nope.
So you can't get a 15.
Nope.
That's a buff and a nerf.
Yep.
Interesting. I don't know if I could handle that.
I do and I don't like it. Because there were times that I wish that I could like increase a stat more at a level up than what it was giving me. But
well, so was that changed so they're like, all right, play the fucking game?
I guess.
I mean, you know, if you've ever seen me get a character to max level, power leveling the whole time, you do a lot of jumping, like up and down mountains and stuff. At one point, I was like, I found some place. I think it was kind of northwest of the beginning. That had all these like rivers and creeks going between these like little hills and stuff.
Yeah.
I was just kind of jumping around between that stuff. I mean, hell, if you're quick traveling everywhere, why aren't you running and jumping everywhere? But I guess in this one, you have to pick the stuff that levels you up. It's not like in Skyrim where everything levels you up.
Yeah. Oh man, I've already gotten levels
It
close to
makes
the
me
total.
think of I had some level where I was power leveling, and I think it was the one I was just talking about. There were a couple of times when I had to quit doing dungeons because I had to stop jumping and swimming
Yeah.
and walk everywhere because otherwise I'd raise my athletics and mess things up. You know, in these old ones, in this one in Morrowind, one of the big things I would suggest people to do, especially if it's the first time you played one of these old ones,
Mm-hmm.
is raise speed a lot early on. If you feel like you're not getting anywhere, raise your speed. Like eventually you'll outpace like deer and stuff. That was something that surprised me about Skyrim. Is I remember at the very beginning outpacing deer and being like, "Am I fast?" It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But the pace of everything is like unified in that one. Like Morrowind's a good example of this. How there's different tiers of power and stuff stats is very based around that. At the beginning of the game, rats seem like fast enemies.
Mm-hmm.
You get your speed up enough, high enough level, and they're jumping toward you looks like it's in slow motion. And it's not so much because the game changed the way you look at it, it's just more like you can actually move fast now. You know? Because compared to mud crabs, they get right on your ass. But, like, you know, of course, that makes me think of I used a construction kit at one point to peek at everything's stats. And the reason that even with the boots of blinding speed, you can't outrun cliff racers is they just have a ridiculously high speed.
Oh man.
I want to say it's high enough. You need, even if with like a 200, you need like a little bit more to get away from them. Of course, they're also. It's funny because cliff racers are dangerous at the beginning of the game. But if you're making your character correctly, they will go down in difficulty as the game goes, and you'll start hunting them down for their feathers. You'll be like, ooh, cliff racers, free money. It's one of the lighter things that's actually worth money because it's part of a flying potion.
Oh.
You're not welcome here.
You know, something I noticed that I probably should have mentioned this already is when I did have the sound on, I was coming through louder than you are.
Oh.
Grandfather built this place. Not that it's any of your business.
You're coming through loud.
But we got plans.
I don't know if I'm coming through loud. Maybe I am.
You'll see.
Well, I lowered your volume on my end, so maybe that'll do something.
Okay.
I'm coming through all right through the video, right? Or can you tell?
I guess let me unmute it again. Oops. Oh. I get so caught up to time that
Well,
I would say you're coming through a little quiet.
okay.
Business. We've been down, but we got plans to bring back the good old days. You'll see.
Well, hopefully that'll help.
Good.
I guess we've got a room available. 30 gold.
Damn.
Fine. Take the stairs up to the right. Just go away.
See, this is one of the things that confuses me about this game, because I'm sure I've talked to this guy, but I don't recognize him because he looks so different. Is it me, or does it almost give the game a grittier look than it had originally? Kind of more like a Fallout vibe than an Oblivion vibe.
Okay.
Because Oblivion was always so metropolitan. I mean, it's not like Skyrim where everyone's on edge. Everyone's maybe a little too not on edge in Oblivion because, you know, like, not only is what the crisis going on, but, like, everyone's like, nah, the Imperial Guard around, it's fine. You know, let's say that they made a one set in like Elsewhere or Black Marsh. Like if it was set in Black Marsh, do you think at the beginning the theme song would be played in like Peruvian flute pipes and drums, or like, or do you think it'd be more like Argonians throat singing it?
I don't know. Good question. Oh man. Dude came for me in my sleep. Hack dirt. I don't remember this town.
It's one of the things that kind of made me wish the next game had been set in Hammerfell is just how many environments are in Hammerfell. I know it's got this huge central desert, but you know, it's kind of like Russia where we have something other than tundra. You know.
I know a lot of people are wanting one set in Black Marsh.
Oh yeah, me too.
And I'm just like, that is never gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
Black Marsh will be an add-on.
Well, it's whatchamacallit, Elder Scrolls is kind of like Dungeons and Dragons in that, and I know Dungeons and Dragons has changed over the years, but this still seems to be basically true, is they try to avoid setting it within alien cultures. I think the closest thing that Dungeons and Dragons ever really tried to do with that was Sigil. I guess the Planescape setting.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be in here, stranger. You'd better leave before somebody gets hurt.
Which I have a feeling it being set in such an alien environment where part of the whole idea is people don't think the same here as they do on the material plane turned a lot of people off to the concept. Because like I don't remember if it's supposed to be enforced, but if you play Planescape, you're kind of supposed to make your character part of one of the philosophical factions. You know, based on the Great Wheel.
I doubt you really mean that. That's great. How's it go again? You win this. You're pathetic. I like that a lot.
Is Sigils in 3rd and 4th edition, right?
Oh, that's great. That's really
Yes, Sigil's part of the DMG in the 4th edition book.
So, Concordant Opposition, the Outlands, whatchamacallit, whatever other names are for the Central Plane.
enough. Blah, blah, blah. What a
How is it described in that? If you're out in the plane.
Oh, that's great. That's really. I can't argue. Don't be silly. You're full of it.
I mean, if you don't remember, that's fine. It
Was that
seems to
Well,
be one of the less consistently described
great? That
dimensions.
too much.
the only thing that I really remember the most from like the fourth edition cosmology is that it felt
Don't be silly.
more like
Where did you get that? I can't argue with that. Blah blah blah. What a bore. That's a bit excessive, don't you think? I can't argue. You're a big fat liar.
planes felt more like planets out in space.
Uh, so, like,
That's your
sigil the crux around which they rotate or something?
No, it's just a common place.
Okay.
It's like nowhere in Marvel Comics.
I mean, it is a place where there's a lot of portals to it. And, like,
You win this one.
some of the
That's a bit excessive.
towns out on the outer edge,
Don't make me. That's
like, you could say that the outer planes kind of come like waves or a tide where they kind of like let's say you're on a city that's out by the edge of like pandemonium,
Out of here. Let's go.
that every now and then it'll actually be in pandemonium and then it'll recede back to being in what is the basic name for that plane? I'm forgetting it for some reason. I want to call it a lot of the old names, but like I know it has a name.
Pandemonium?
No, the central plane, coordinate opposition,
Oh.
the outlands.
The only thing that I remember being towards the center, like of the wheel, was the prime material plane.
Oh, well, yeah, but the plane that sigils in, what's it called? I know it has like what the official name is now. I just can't remember what it is.
Isn't it a part of the Abyss?
No.
No?
Well, it wasn't in first edition. It was something they had in second edition, or at least somewhere between the transition. It might be in like Unearth Arcania or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I walked off the beaten path and I'm not sure why.
Is this that town where everyone's invisible, or is it just night?
That's Hector. It's just a bunch of people that are like, get the fuck out of town. I'm like, alright, I'm out.
That's the place where they're worshiping something that they're digging out from underground.
Yes, because I found their Bible and I walked off with it.
Ah.
When was the first time you played Oblivion?
I don't remember.
Okay, this might be an easier question. What was it? What was it on?
Well, I can't even remember, like, because I know I played Morrowind on the Xbox originally, and I played like I think Skyrim on the PlayStation 3 originally, and I'm sure I played this on the system originally. I can't remember who had it. I feel like I might own Oblivion at some point now. It's probably somewhere up among my games, but like, I remember where I originally played it. One of my brother's friends had it. And, well, you remember I was talking about someone who got rid of a game because I got better at it than them.
Oh yeah.
Well, I borrowed his Xbox and sat and played like Oblivion nonstop for like a week. It got up to like level 70, so he took his Xbox back. It's like, you're a higher level than I am.
Ooh.
I'm kind of curious, like, how viable that character actually would be by my modern standards.
Hmm.
They were like heavy armor, two-handed weapon using, like, person who used like conjuration and destruction. And I think athletics and like acrobatics, probably armor. I remember I accidentally made his head really small and thin.
At some
Losing
point,
Argonia.
at some point, I need to go through this game and see if I can do some of the builds that I did for Skyrim in this one.
Ah,
Because I had a
like
literal do nothing build.
the sneak in and make them kill each other build.
Yep.
I mean, Ted, that should work in this. It can be a little, if it's like the original and your sneak starts out low, you might need to start out sneaking from horses. Like, that place with the vampire guy. I can't remember what the name of the city is for some reason. But you would hide from the horses out at the stables out there to get it up. Part of the problem with hiding from people is, like, let's say you go into like a business and hide.
Mm-hmm.
They even like get an inkling that you're there, they'll come and find you. Kind of like when they're like, he's not trying to sleep in my bed without permission, is he?
Dude, okay. NPCs are quick.
Oh yeah.
No, like, I tried to steal a helmet in one of the early shops, and I kind of got myself into a position where they wouldn't see me, and all I had to do was crouch, grab it, get out. As soon as I hit the corner, they were both right there. Like,
Oh,
like instant transmission right there.
dang.
I was like, damn.
I mean,
you lose momentum,
I
by the
used
way,
to-
going up hills.
Oh. Yeah, I guess I see that. Do you gain any going down?
No.
Huh. But
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
when you start following, yeah, I guess you speed up a little bit.
like kind of curious what spell making's like in this. Be an interesting take on what it's going to be like if they put it in any games moving forward. Maybe it's exactly the same. Something I realized, I knew this was true, but I found out why. Oh, I don't know if it's exactly the same in this as is in Morrowind, reason why. But like I don't remember if it's duration, something like that, which might be part of the reason raising that doesn't raise the cost of spells as much as it feel like it will. But I think it's duration. It might be area of effect, but I'm pretty sure its duration is always a little bit like when you have it a duration of 1, it's always like it's a duration of 2, which is a bigger jump in magic points than a duration of like 3.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's why they're always more expensive than ones you buy. I guess I shouldn't say always. And I know sometimes you can buy spells that are more or less efficient, but like I feel like it's kind of that way in this one though, where there's some aspect of it that makes them a little more expensive than spells you'd buy. I mean, they're still good. Don't get me wrong. Of course, that makes me think of in Morrowind at one point, I had a character who wanted to be able to use levitate, but didn't have the magic ability to really use it in a like fly-like kind of way.
Huh.
I made this spell with a decent duration. It was decent enough that I could get around, called Bubble, where I basically just crawled through the air. It could be expensive to make, and it'd be neat if there were one or two game spells in the game that were just like this. But have you ever made a levitation spell that moves really quick?
I have not.
Well, it's not quite the same. It could be functionally very similar to that sprint ability you get in Skyrim. Kind of like getting over a gap really fast that you wouldn't be able to jump or something like that.
Wait a minute.
You don't remember there being stones?
I remember there being stones, but I thought they like bestowed like
Oh, wait a
found
minute.
weapons on you.
Yeah, doesn't it give you some kind of bonus? It's not. Did you not pick your side at the beginning of the game?
Yes, I did.
Is this changing it? Is like you said, it's supposed to give you something or open something up. Like, aren't there these shrines you can find around the world that like dedicated to each of the gods and stuff like that?
No, well, I mean, those are here,
Um,
but I mean, that's not what that was.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it wasn't this kind of like that, and it was. I don't want to say an unmarked quest, but like, do they still have the alien whales?
Yeah.
Those recharge eventually, right?
Yep. I want to say every 3 days. Might be every 7.
Okay. Every now and then I find one somewhere. I'm like, why are you here? Well, there's nothing here. Yeah, that's a tough ancestor guardian. Of course, sometimes I've discovered balancing in these games from trying to make things different with like the toolkit or something. Because like I remember in Morrowind making some spells that the idea was they were cheap and easy to cast, not necessarily strong, but they weren't like I didn't do anything to tweak their balancing. They were at balancing. But like I said, they were really cheap, really easy to cast. Did about like 5 to 6 damage or something like that. They just basically weren't viable
Yeah.
because that just wasn't enough damage. Because this was something I was making in the kit to buy. You know, it wasn't like a player made spell.
I guess that was enough for me to level. So I guess I'll level. Oh, thought it was. Okay, my bad. Oh no, I don't want to wait. I want to see where the fuck I'm
You know,
at.
I guess whoever I was seeing play this had turned off the HUD because I've seen some comparison videos, and in the original one it has the HUD, and the comparison it doesn't. And then maybe they're just trying to make it look nicer. I mean, I've noticed the HUD's positions is a little different.
There's a number of things that are different. Like, you know how you used to click on the thumbstick to go to crouch to go into sneak?
Okay.
Nope. It's the B button.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what's jump? Is it still
Still Y.
Y?
Yep.
Okay. So what's the access button?
Huh?
So what's the access button?
That. The other
Is
one
it A?
sprints, and the other one sprints.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, the action button is A.
Okay.
Here's another well.
Originally, X would draw your weapon, right? I put it away.
Yes. Okay,
How
so
do you
you know
do
how
that
you you have to sit there and hold the button for it to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Nope. Just hit
Oh.
X. Pops out. That's a nice
But
change.
like, can you sneak with your weapon out?
Yeah. Oh, I have been found.
Ooh.
Oh. Ooh, wrong spell. Aw, man, I gotta come here later for this.
So do weapon strikes feel any more impactful? I mean, I know people used to describe this as like fighting with a wet paper towel tube.
It's the same.
Okay, it just feels like you're just smacking them for no real effect. And I don't necessarily mean in damage, but like, there's always been something mildly unsatisfying about the combat in this, despite as good as it can feel. Like, both are kind of true. Because, like, I remember years ago playing this game again and being like, oh, I remember why this game is fun. But, like, I don't know. It's funny some of the creatures that end up getting really powerful, like goblins.
Man, I need to get to town.
Of course, that makes me think of it has somewhat reignited the memes about how much more badass Oblivion skeletons are than Skyrim skeletons. Of course, people don't realize is that when we see skeletons in that, they are the bottom skeletons, and all the rest are Draugr.
Yeah.
That's why you always get gold from them. They and like kind of like how they drop the stuff not dragons, skeletons drop. If you notice, dragon priests drop the stuff that liches drop.
Hmm. I need to find a blacksmith, like, now.
What is your armor?
It's not great, but that doesn't matter. I don't have any hammers.
Ah,
It's okay. It looks like I'm pretty close to Kvatch, so I can repair here. Because nothing's happening at Kvatch right now, right?
can you? I guess yeah, you can. There's that orc chick.
Yep.
She's usually who I get some hammers from early on. I'm not saying you should do that. Just
No,
remember
I
that the
probably
one
will
place
do
in the
that.
game where you need them is Oblivion.
Yeah.
You'll be up ready to go into another Tower of the Four, being like hammering away on your stuff. You know, I was thinking of the voice acting in this the other day.
Yeah.
You remember the classic line, the "Buy Azura, buy Azura, buy Azura,"
Yeah.
and like, part of the reason that voice acting is so good is, of course, it's "My God, by God, by God." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they don't try to keep the sentence structure of that.
Yeah.
That may be the wrong way of saying it. But you know, he doesn't try to say that. He tries to say what someone would say in his position.
Yeah.
I don't know, like.
No, I mean, these Oblivion has always done like kind of minor clever things that are very of its world.
Yeah. This is one of the few games where it doesn't feel as forced as others.
Well, okay, I've heard the complaint that in Skyrim, in the opening scene where you're tied up in the cart and you're hearing the bandit and the other guy talk,
Uh huh.
The bandit is just throwing out names at you.
Oh yeah, no, I remember it being like a later playthrough. I'll know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah, and the critique of that is that there was like so much out of context information there, and it's like, okay, but you could probably figure it out.
And say also in Elder Scrolls, people don't talk to you like you're not part of the world.
Yeah. Well, okay, when he starts like listing the gods, like when he finds out he's about to have his head cut off and he's just rattling off names, and odds are you could derive the context of that as that he is making some sort of plea to higher deities to be like, intervene, don't let me die.
Uh-huh.
And then he runs off and he fucking dies.
Uh,
Spoilers for Skyrim. And it only happens in the first like 10 minutes, but you know.
the part of the game that makes archery seem a little more dangerous than it is.
Yeah. Nothing I love more than putting arrows in people's skulls and then just being like, what was that?
One of the funny things about that is how much people like to, I guess NPCs, I mean, like to fight with bows in Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
They go off and they'll just whip it out, and it's like, you got a two-headed, like, hammer, man. Quit using the bow. Ooh. You know, I'm not used to so much contrast in this game. I actually thought that was the town being on fire. You know, one thing I've seen, and I'm curious what your take is when you see it. Have you seen any Oblivion Gates yet?
I have not.
Okay. I feel like they're not as intense and threatening in this version. I'm curious what you think. Maybe less intrusive? Because you know how in the original game it really seemed like evil, like, breaking through and pouring into the world, right?
Yeah. Dude was running up to me and decided to run away from me. He's running back to the gate.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, hey, here we go. Oh.
Maybe it's just leg day.
What? Okay. It doesn't seem to be, but if you say so, game.
Is he just not able to find you?
I guess.
Usually. Is fleeing for their life. Okay. I know he can talk to the player. I've seen it happen.
Yeah, no, he runs up, he's like, run for your life. You know, he's in Italy.
Yeah.
He tells you what happened.
Yeah, you don't even know, do you? Yeah, I remember at one point, I didn't understand aspects of this game as well as I do, and I thought I was so clever trying to get into Kavach from behind, and they're like, no. I don't know if you ever tried to do it. It's practically physically impossible. I'm sure someone's figured out a way to hop up there at some point, but like...
I haven't figured out a way to.
Selling that single arrow you had.
Yep.
Made me think of I was thinking the other day about like how odd the protagonist might come off to people in the world if they actually lived day-to-day lives. Because, like, imagine my character walking into your town, standing at the entrance for like 12 hours, coming into your shop, selling like you 500 arrows one at a time, buying a bunch of your shit, none of the stuff you really want to sell, but some of your like, primary materials, standing out on your stoop for 3 days, turning in and doing the same thing again.
Yeah. The game part of this game gets very silly sometimes.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what they thought in Whiterun when, I'm sitting there transmuting all of the iron into gold so that I can turn it all into rings, to enchant the rings, to turn around and sell the rings.
Man, trying to do that at one point. So I found out the barrels are not a safe place to save your stuff in like the that little like room they give you in the academy.
Yes.
The wardrobes are fine. The barrels will repopulate. And I lost all my rings that way at one point.
Oh man.
Stand back,
Yeah.
civilian. This is no place for you. Get back to the
And I was like, I have other levels that are farther in the game than this, and I'm still holding stuff in the barrels. I need to move it on. And just that character had passed a lot of time because they were doing what you're saying, going to everywhere, buying all their gold and silver and iron because you can turn iron to silver and silver to gold. Like,
You mean the priest? If he's
Of course he is. Because none of this can be simple. Ooh. Man. Well. I'll say this. That doesn't look like anything that I'd want to fuck around with.
mm.
Looks nice. I like the.
Oh, yeah.
I like that you can see through the portal. That's a nice touch.
There's a lot of lighting effects going on.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I cannot deny this is a good-looking game. But it is the beta.
Oh.
Oh god, how poorly is this gonna load?
At one point, this is before I knew just the way the game scaling worked. But I went and got Martin, and then later came back to go free the castle or whatever. And when I went in there, it was Stunted Scamp and like Baby Clan Fear and stuff like that. When I went to go clear the castle, it was like those big guys who uses two-handed swords as one-handed swords,
Yeah.
and Adult Clan Fear, and whatchamacallem, those big crocodile guys.
Oh yeah, no, that happened to me too.
Captain Matthias sent us in to try and close the gate. I'm getting out of here. The captain is still holding the barricade. I figured out. All right. I'll try to get out of here and let the captain know.
Daedra, that's what they're called. Which they cast shield on themselves, don't they?
They cast a lot of things on themselves, I think.
There's just something that looks quite different in Morrowind. They're still crocodile-headed guys, but they look a lot more like, I guess you could say, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, but like an Egyptian god where their body's a lot more human.
Mm.
I mean, they're obviously not human even in their body, but like, it's not as continuously crocodilian.
Well, I like problems that solve themselves.
I have to say the boulders falling was easier to see than it was in the original version.
This part
you know,
is gonna suck.
it's funny because I was thinking about like there's blood in this game, but there's not a whole lot of blood, right? Especially by modern standards.
Yeah.
But something Skyrim did was up the gore level with like the decapitations and stuff.
I mean, didn't Fallout do that?
Well, you've not played a whole lot of the original Fallout if you think they made it more intense in the gore.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you want to make that comparison with like the Bethesda games, you know what I mean?
Did they start getting more gory and stuff after the 3?
I mean, I don't know that they were any less gory.
Because like the original Fallout, there's some pretty extreme like bad stuff happening to people animations. You should melt someone with a laser in that. It makes 3 seem not so bad. In 3, their skeleton disintegrates and doesn't writhe in agony.
Man.
No, it's stunted scamp.
That guy did not fuck around.
Oh yeah, no, these are more serious. I don't remember. Do they eventually throw lords at you?
Yeah, oh my god, that weighs 22 pounds?
Yeah, I mean, the Jamora stuff's heavy. If you're early enough in the game, it can be an improvement. It's kind of like, you know what it's like? Ancient Nord equipment.
Yeah.
Where, like, if you're on a level 1 run, it can actually be some pretty good stuff. So can, the, Imperial Legion armor. What do you have going on? Is that steel?
Steel armor, iron weapons.
Okay. Something I didn't realize until, like, I guess not necessarily until, but in one of my more recent playthroughs, which is still years ago now, I forgot how much merchants improve with your level.
That is quite intense there in the middle.
What do you need silver weapons for in this? Is it just ghosts, or is it some stuff like Clan Fear?
Ghosts. That helps with vampires a lot.
Different. You know, what do you feel about the lighting?
I like it.
Okay.
I do. Like I said, I really like the aesthetic that this game's got going on. I like the look. Visually speaking, it's perfect. Well, it's not perfect, but it's like it's really fucking close. You know,
Okay.
it's just there are some like wonky things that like man, even Oblivion didn't do that originally.
Uh, is it like the pop in and stuff?
Yeah, the pop in, the textures, the mapping. It's just like there's so much really wild stuff going on. Oh, I'm about to die, and I'm ducking instead of. That's a problem.
Ducking instead of whipping out your weapon.
Ducking instead of opening the menu.
Ah. I can't remember. I know Daedra hearts in this are part of health potions, right?
I don't think so.
Is it magic potions? I remember them being part of something in some of these games where it's like, really, you need this to do it?
Oh fuck, there was a. Okay. Fuck you, game.
Wait, what?
I was spinning a bunch of magic to heal myself. Blood fountain right there.
Uh,
Fuck you, game. Fuck you. I do like the redesign on the little column in the middle.
mm.
Wait a minute. There's a reason I picked this up. Oh, and it deals shit damage.
Oh, is it the mace?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, your skill's really bad in it, right?
Yeah. For mace, yeah, I think it is. Whatever. I'm collecting hearts.
Find the, what do you, because I know axes are somewhere in between. But do you end up fighting the speed of swords better, or the raw basic damage of maces better?
The damage of maces.
Yeah.
It especially works out better for maces in Skyrim.
Since you start ignoring damage resistance.
Yeah, you just start bypassing armor altogether.
Does it ever get to 100%?
No. But, I mean...
What is it, a percent, or does it just say ignores armor? I can't remember.
I think it's a percentage. I think it ignores
Okay.
a percentage.
I'm not saying it doesn't work in games like this, but I feel like sometimes that I feel like, does it need a key, or do you need to like push something somewhere? Anyway, I feel like random treasure generation works better in games with random maps. I think sometimes that comes from like playing a dungeon and then expecting to find some of the same stuff in the same places again
Yeah.
because the place is exactly the same.
Should not be here, mortal. Your blood is forfeit. Flesh is mine.
Of course, seeing all that lava in the background makes me think of some old games that had lava where one of the things you could do essentially is get like either lava resistance so high, or I guess fire resistance so high it doesn't hurt you, or in a couple of games where you could get it into the like, if you get it to like 110%, then it heals you instead of hurting you. I feel like in one of the oldest architectures of Baldur's Gate 2 that was possible. There's not a lot of lava in that game, but the way it works is every like round or two it does fire damage to anyone standing on it.
Mm.
If you know a game that works like that I didn't realize works like that for a long time is Doom. You ever made it over like a damaged floor without getting damaged? Sometimes you just do get damaged doing the same thing. It's
I-
because basically, oh, there's the key.
Yeah.
It's because it damages you like every other tick or every third tick or something like that. So you technically can be on it without taking damage if you're on the right ticks.
Take the key, get to the single key, and find the sit. Don't worry about me. There is no top.
Okay, I'll just leave you there then.
If I remember, isn't the only other thing you can do is kill him?
I guess save him is apparently not an option.
So, well, like I might be thinking of a different guy, but I feel like I remember finding someone in one of these places, and I found a way to open their cage, and it just dropped them onto spikes.
That could have been him. Ooh, it's a good thing I stopped.
What's the? I know this is a Dungeons and Dragons question.
Yeah.
I can't remember. What is the plane? I guess, for lack of a better word of saying it, just south on the Great Wheel of Mechanus, or Nirvana, or whatever you want to call it.
I would have to get the book out. I never bothered to remember their positions. It didn't really. Not till years later did I understand why their positioning was important.
Because I feel like it's Archeon, but I could be wrong. But like, I recently had the idea of a Dungeons and Dragons setting that's still in essentially basic Dungeons and Dragons, just set after like. Well, okay, think of how much of the backstory of the Outer Planes is like. Well, all that happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
But like, kind of where the building war between the upper and lower planes actually had come to a head, but once again a long time ago, and like basically everything from like Gladheim to Nirvana was conquered by the heavens, and everything from like Archeon to Limbo was conquered by the hell. And so basically it was all either one or the other. Like, and I mean to the point of like getting rid of characters like Primus, where like Nirvana was no longer a lawful neutral place. That gives you a lot of information.
Okay. Okay. Forgot all the climbing you gotta do to get up this to get to the top of this thing.
This one is unusually long. Like, I'm not saying other ones don't get all complex. There'll be some that you have to go like several towers and go to other islands and stuff like that. But like, usually you don't run into ones this complex. It's kind of the Bethesda curated dungeon problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like that place you get the Dragon Stone. That kind of gives you an unreasonable expectation of such dungeons, doesn't it?
Honestly, yeah, it does. But they're, you know, they're all laid out the same.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not trying to be too harsh with that criticism. I've spent a lot of times in those quote unquote crappy dungeons, but like, you know. So
Oh my
used to
god.
doing this higher level, and I was like, "There's got to be a Daedroth in here."
Oh.
I mean, actually, last time I made a serious attempt at this, I think you saw my character. I was fighting a Daedroth and a spider Daedra, and you were commenting on just how long I was sitting there pounding on him. So I just dropped up to like quack, 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 quack. I'm not gonna keep going because it takes longer than that, but
Yeah, yeah, I know.
you know, I sometimes do wonder, and I remember having this feeling at the time. I didn't think it would be the Elder Scrolls game for so long, but I wonder how odd of a perspective Skyrim gives to people, because most Elder Scrolls game, and I know there's only a few of them, aren't so undead heavy and so light on demons.
Yeah.
Well, and otherworldly beings, you know.
That sigil stone is huge.
Ooh, it is. That'll never fit in a sword.
I wonder if they got rid of the duplication trick.
Huh. That's different. I feel like it gives a different vibe because, like, in the original game, it was more like you grabbed the sigil stone and it and you persisted, but everything else went away.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard this game just straight up crashes, though.
It does.
I will say that because this is one hell of a load time.
Yeah,
But I've had to do that before. I've had to be like, what was the last door I went into in Oblivion? We run up there again. That's why I save after every day draw.
I just can't sleep. I lie down and close my eyes, but I can't stop.
Close the gate. I knew you could do it. This is our chance to launch a counterattack. I need
oh my god, did you see that?
What?
Are you
Oh, the frame drops, man.
No.
but not for long.
This dude's face.
To move quickly before they have a chance to
This
bury
guy?
this
Yeah.
gate.
Is he just? What's the problem?
His eyes were huge for a second, like they were about to come out of his head.
I guess I missed it.
Thinking about it.
I mean, as different as people look in this, it's weird seeing such human-looking people in Oblivion. I could tell that's where like most of the budget went.
I will not miss Cartoon Works. I won't. I don't care. I don't care. I will not miss Cartoon Works.
Which, you know, that makes me think of a complaint from back in the day. And maybe this is just weird racism of some sort. I don't know. But do you remember how people used to complain that the orcs didn't act like orcs in this game?
I mean, I don't want to say that they're... I can't say that they're wrong. Every orc in Cyrodiil is like some sort of weird traitor. They run an inn, or they run a shop, or they run a something.
What town is it? You know that Redguard who's always like, do you get up to the Cloud District? Oh, what am I talking about? You are poor.
Yeah.
Wasn't there an orc like that in one of the cities? He's like, yeah, I work in the castle. Oh, you wouldn't get in there. You're not high enough class.
I think so. Missed. I'm starting to need someone to sell all this shit to.
Well, I mean, it's a WRPG. Is there anything that's gonna stop you from walking outside and selling stuff to that orc chick?
The amount of time it'll take me to do it. What am I at? Weight wise? Oh my god.
I mean, you're crawling, so it's got to be something big.
It's 294 out of 250.
So almost 50 overloaded. You know, something I've never fully understood is something I've heard in this as advice from way back in the day, and I even hear it in more recent stuff, is, and I'm not saying it has no value, but they're like, use feather to be able to carry overweight. And it's like, how often are you casting that spell?
You know, that's...
Of course, I did find out the hard way that it's not as effective in the original game as it's supposed to be. But not that it doesn't work at all. But like in Morrowind, since you can have a character who doesn't wear armor, that just feeds into my treasure addiction. Less carry weight. I can't remember. Does this one have the same mechanic that Morrowind and Fallout 3 have. Maybe Fallout 3 doesn't have this. Maybe it's just with its armor, but I know Morrowind has this, where the more stuff you're literally carrying in your inventory, you get slower and slower. It's relative somewhat to like your strength and some other things, but like
Morrowind did that. Fallout 3 did that. This, I want to say Oblivion did that. Like, you would just
Okay.
hit a point where you'd stop moving.
Well, but I mean, you don't slow down gradually before you hit the like overweight point, do you? Because you could be like halfway way down in Morrowind and be slower than if you had nothing on.
I don't remember if it worked that way.
Okay.
I don't know if it, like, speed scaled with carry weight.
First, you know, it's funny because we've been talking about speed in these games, and like, I understand in Morrowind why they start you with such low speed. Because once it gets up high enough, you're like, nothing's far apart. You got to start seeing the illusion.
Yeah. Man, that lightning's pretty cool.
Oh, this is outside. Okay, yeah.
I'm making the slow walk back.
So do you think, you know, something I'm surprised they didn't have in like Skyrim is all of this like Oblivion stuff that made its way in to the like world, like those jutting up pieces of like evil rock and stuff. Like
Well,
you think you would get you think you'd get like what you might call it, Oblivion rock weapons or something. You know, some kind of
yeah,
new material.
something that better explains why you're making Daedric weapons.
Uh, you get Daedric hearts from Atronox in this.
I don't think so. I think you just get salts.
Okay. I don't remember that in this. All of the day now, I know the Atronox work for everybody. There's, you know, some of them in all the realms, or at least of Oblivion. But like, this game's full of Mehrunes Dagon specific ones, right? Like Dremora Lords usually work for him. I think so do some of the other ones. But like, there aren't like hungers and like Black Twilights and stuff like that in this one. But I'm pretty sure it's because they're all like ones that work usually for Mehrunes Dagon.
Probably. I don't know for certain, but I mean that would make sense considering who the villain is.
Yeah. You know, is it me or is it very first world armchair philosophy to argue in favor of Dagon? Because, like, yes, he would bring change. You wouldn't like the change.
That's the first good news in a long time.
I mean, I hear apologetics for all the Daedra Lords, but he's one of the ones that I find funny, kind of like Molag Bal, where, like, he is not a good guy. He may be a hero to some Daedra. Maybe he defeated someone even worse than he is, but he's not a bad guy. It's kind of like Batista and Castro. Like Batista was worse, but Castro wasn't necessarily like, you know, a hero.
No.
Fine transaction.
Oh, I have so many of these as well.
That's a good deal.
I must have a lesser gem in it. That probably doesn't have one in it. Yeah, maybe it does. I don't know.
So what did the stone you got do?
Thank you for your patronage.
I don't know. Descendant Sigil Stone. I'm not sure what that does. Show details. Ah, here we go. Absorb fatigue.
Let's do an armor.
Fortify fatigue.
Ah. That's something I did on that level 1 run I did. Since there was a lot of stuff I couldn't literally do. I got I don't remember what kind of sword I got. But I got a full suit of Imperial plate mail, the stuff the soldier the guards wear or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I just filled it with sigil stones. Of course, I have had the idea when I found out just how much they scale of trying to not do any Oblivion Gates until I'm high enough level that I'll get the best sigil stones.
I just came down from here. I just came up from here. I gotta come back down because I need to repair my gear.
Uh,
Man.
when does it generate the stone? I can't remember. Is it when you walk into the room or is it when you go into that gate of Oblivion?
I do not know. I could probably when you enter the tower.
That's the first good news. Can't go into battle.
Oh, she's nowhere to be found.
Ah, I found her.
I'm through talking to you. I'm just lucky to be alive.
She's through talking to me. I'm through talking to her. Not a lot more than walking up this hill.
I mean, surely it'll be worthwhile. It's not like Sean Bean's gonna die in a piece of fiction.
Oh no! Back when they got Sean Bean, when you could get Sean Bean at Sean Bean rates.
Yeah. Of course, that makes me think of. You remember when there was a controversy in Game of Thrones? Anytime someone from "quote unquote" real life would show up in there,
Yeah.
like no named actors. I was like, so I guess Sean Bean's nobody.
I mean, those were your words, not mine. As much grief as he get because he always dies in whatever he's in, he's usually really good in whatever he's in.
Oh yeah, he was the dad in 28 Days Later, right?
Ooh, I don't remember.
Okay.
We wiped the bastards out. It's safe to pull those people out of the chapel. Let's get in there and make sure they're all right. Come, let's get inside the chapel.
Whoa, okay. Calm down.
Just over there doing a power huddle.
Telling you, man, his eyes get huge when he talks to me.
Report, soldier.
Sir, we're all that's left. Barrack Inian, myself, and these civilians.
That's it? There's no one else?
There were others, sir, but they refused to stay put. We tried to convince them it was dangerous, but they left anyway. I guess they didn't.
Whoa, that was
Very
rough.
well. The area outside the chapel has been cleared, and
Why,
these
what'd you
people need
say?
to be taken to safety. Camp south of
When
Trust
you
City.
loaded in,
But sir,
like a good chunk of the walls in both directions were just not there.
Oh.
They popped in pretty quick. I'm just saying.
Hey, it's this guy.
I heard about how you helped the guard drive the Daedra back.
Oh, wow.
Well done.
Did you see that?
I guess not.
When I talked to, like,
Really?
so when I walked up to him, his face was darkened. But then when I started talking to him, a light shined down
Yep,
on his head.
Yep. Yeah, no, he's totally got like a lamp just generated over the top of him. I see what you're talking about. I guess it's the delay that made me not see it.
This is so weird.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, this has got to be the beta.
Is it me or does Martin look a little less distinct in this version?
Kinda. He looks better fed.
Ah, yeah.
He's more round cheeked in this.
The Emperor is dead. Who are you? What do you really... Yes, I'm a priest. You need a priest? I don't think I'll be much help to you. I'm having trouble understanding the gods right now. If all this is part of a divine plan, I'm not sure I want to have anything to do with it. If you came to me for help, you're more of a fool than you look. Look around. What good is a priest? Emperor
Yeah,
Urios.
people are a little better at maintaining eye contact in this version.
No, you must have the wrong man. I am a priest of Akatosh.
His
I
eyes
think about
got
in Oblivion.
huge.
People would just not stare at you in the ears the whole time by any means. I was looking over at the side and stuff.
An entire city destroyed to get
I think I see what you mean about every now and then his eyes just kind of getting big.
Yeah, it's
I
just
think
like,
it's the
dude.
weirdness with the way that like
I don't know.
the 3D structure of their faces is.
Yeah.
I think it's just that he's supposed to be opening his eyes wide,
What does this mean? What do you want?
but like his eyes are a little too far forward in his head.
Destroyed the Oblivion
Yeah.
Gate, they say.
Well, like I said with the other guy, it just looked like his eyes were about to pop out of his head.
Yes. I'll come with you to Wayland Priory and hear what Joffrey has to say. Lead on.
So, how was the character maker in this one?
I'm just lucky to be alive.
It's all right. It is different. Get caught on the damn pole.
To actually get yeah, that's what it says right there. You have to make the pilgrimage. It's interesting that it tells you that. Like, it even told you where it was and everything, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I made those pilgrimages. You have to do them for the, Knights of the Nine, right?
Yeah.
We've done it. I can't believe it. I didn't really think this
You
would
know,
work.
sometimes in these games,
Maybe we do
I think the numbers are
Oh, yes.
I guess your numbers are different than they are, but I find out that it's more like a rebalancing of the weight of things, stuff like that between games.
You've come this far with us.
Because that's actually seems to be more of a factor about feeling like you can or can't carry more weight in a game than like a big adjustment in how stats work.
Nothing compared to the battle that finally awaits us.
I liked weight management in Starfield.
When you're ready,
It didn't slow you
we're-
down.
we'll get underway.
It didn't do a bunch of bullshit. All it did was like make you drain your stamina faster when you moved.
Ah,
Are you ready to go?
would it ever reach a point where it was untenable?
We need to move soon. I knew you'd be. Our goal is the. You know the drill.
Chris, that kind of makes me think of
Oh, there's that light again.
that kind of makes me think of
Yourself in your hands.
oh, you remember Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, right?
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, and I sold stuff I might not have in the run I made through the game before I figured this out. There's no limit to how much stuff you carry in your inventory.
You know what's different about this game?
Hmm.
2 Imperial Guards show up right now. Where are they at?
Oh yeah. Oh wait a minute. Are you progressing the story?
Yep.
They don't show up. Oh okay. Well, are you progressing the story or are you progressing the saving the town?
Both.
Ah, okay. Then yes, they should appear. I don't remember. I think they do appear in here, don't they? For some reason, I was like, do they appear in the next room? But yeah, no, they should totally be like, hey, do you need some help? Like they actually come and initiate a dialogue with you and everything, right?
Yep.
Yeah. No, this is gonna be rough without those guys. You know, this is a game, especially early on, where the Imperial Guards can be a real help if they help you. You know, they'll jump off their horse and be like, "Prepare to die." It's like, yeah, do it. But you know, I know there's some arguments for why like Imperial soldiers aren't wearing metal armor in like Skyrim.
Yeah.
Have you ever worn metal armor in a cold environment? It just sucks the heat right out of you. It's kind of like how, you know, you shouldn't be really wearing armor over a certain degree in the desert, you know?
Yeah.
We've got to make it to the castle.
That was weird.
Damn it! This is no good. The gates are locked, and the only way to open them is from within the gatehouse. We can't open that gate from out here. The only mechanism for raising it is inside
You know,
the gatehouse.
this battle stands out to me.
Gatehouse now.
And maybe it's somewhat that I try to keep all my dudes alive.
It's kept
Like, this is a battle I've gone and made or found heal others spells for.
should still have
But, this stands out in my head as one of the more difficult battles in the game, even though it's not that bad necessarily. I keep seeing, can you guys see Daedra?
Wait a minute.
Shouldn't you guys have already run into some resistance?
Yeah, I've already killed some.
Well, but I meant in this new screen.
Yeah. I mean, I've already killed like a Dremora and a Scamp, but there's usually more.
Well, I gotta go talk to the dude or something. He'll be like, "Let's open the gate and go in there." You have to actually go through the castle itself, right?
Yeah, they're wanting me to the North Guardhouse. Well,
Oh, your thing was pointing the other way.
ah, there
Or
it
they
is.
want you. It's funny how there was something else I was thinking of that appears in these games in an unusual amount, but maybe it's just because 2 did it back to back. But this whole destroyed city at the beginning
Mm-hmm.
feels, oh, I don't want to say repetitive, but like it's a trope at this point.
We saw the smoke from the Gold Road while out on patrol.
Oh,
How can we help?
here we go.
We'll be right behind you. I'm just waiting.
Is it telling you where Martin is?
Finally, a chance
Oh no,
to
it's
fight
the
back.
dude. Hey,
Got the light on his head too.
Yes, I have it. Why? That's right. They met. I'd better if
the whole desk lamp of talking to people is kind of funny. And he's looking at it.
show me what you've got. Your worst. This is the part where you fall down and bleed to death.
Oop, there's the clan fear. I've fought so many pitched and running battles against those guys.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know if you played Morrowind enough to experience this, but if you're ever out in the wilderness and you're like, "Is that a baby crying? Should I go check it out?" It's a scamp.
Do your worst. I'm just warming up, you pathetic worm.
Oh man, he rolled up on me with weapons drawn and shield out and everything. I was like, oh no, what did I do?
I have someone show, I think it was the leader of this group of guys and Martin fight to the death, and the leader guy won, but Martin's immortal, so he stood back up and finished him off. Something that's always a how do I want to do this in this game? Is if I'm gonna do the arena, do I want to do it early when they're weak or later when I'm strong?
Mm. Oh shit.
Of course, yeah, I was talking about Daedric Lord apologetics.
Oh yeah.
I've literally heard people blame everything bad in Mancron Cameron's paradise on his shoulders, and I'm like, I have a feeling he built this place exactly the way Dagon told him to.
Yeah, no, he built that shit to someone else's specs.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm looking for. It's like kind of got lost and turned around for a second.
You know, it's funny how video games can create mundane situations in your mind out of things that maybe shouldn't be. Like, I assume at some point or another you've had a level where, like, you just kind of walk past Oblivion Gates and be like, I don't want to deal with that right now. I don't care that's right side of this town. I just don't want to deal with that right now.
Nah, I have. I have always wanted to play this game, like just talking my way through it as much as possible.
Oh,
And so, like, whenever I get to, like, the leaders and they're like, well, you need to do this, I can just sit there and be like, no, come on, guy, be a guy.
yeah, yeah.
This is it. The entrance to the passage is right here.
I made the original Fallout character who was like that. It made the last boss rough, but, like, a lot of other stuff is pretty easy. Although you can talk your way out of him, I didn't do the story stuff I needed to do that. So, because you know how, like, with Eden, you're just like, logic, bitch. You can use the same arguments on the master, very similar ones, but you actually have to have found the argument to make in the first place. If that makes any sense.
Ah,
There's a Brotherhood scribe chick who if you talk to her enough and get her some information, she'll determine that whatchamacallit, super mutants are genetic dead end because they're all sterile.
ah.
It's like, sure, they're practically immortal and they're immune to radiation, but they're gonna die out eventually. You know, I mean, I know that's not necessarily an inevitability, but you know, you have to be able to replace your population. They'll run out of prime humans eventually.
Man.
Isn't Herald what you become if you're a non-prime human and they try to make you into a super mutant?
You know, damn it.
That's a lot of clan fear.
Whoa.
Surprised just how little damage you've taken so far.
Oh no. Give it a second.
Ooh. kite them into these guys. I feel like they've powered up friendly NPCs a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, these guys are a lot tougher than what I'm usually expecting to work with here. So I just got a steel longsword. I should equip that. All right.
Oh, damn. I thought it was a little odd that he cast a spell at the beginning of the fight. That makes sense.
I'm just warming up, you pathetic worm. Let's get this over.
Wow, why do they need to look like that?
I guess I don't see what you're looking at yet. Talking about the flame atronach?
Yeah, they did not look like that in the old game.
What do you mean specifically?
They didn't look like they were wearing armor. They just looked like they were...
Is it censorship?
I wouldn't say it's censorship. It's just, I don't know.
This is what they look like in Skyrim, essentially, right?
I don't think so. I mean,
You
the
know, as
general
much as...
aesthetic, yeah, but I mean, I don't think it looks like they're wearing anything.
Does it not?
I don't
Okay.
think so. Maybe I could be wrong. It's been
I
a
knew-
while
I
since
knew-
I played that.
It almost kind of looks like they added some of the clothes from one of the other ones, maybe Morrowind.
Mm.
But of course, it'd be funny if the reason they did it is if you could see them as well as you can in this, you'd see that they were literally naked women with nipples and everything.
Ah,
I'm not saying that's true, but it might be.
they didn't want to invite that.
Yeah,
When we're done with all this, we'll talk
because I mean,
if we're still alive.
there are a lot of old games that, as much as it was like, ooh, boobs when I was a kid,
Charge the courtyard.
like Diablo 2,
Standing.
or not Diablo 2, I meant Diablo 1. Diablo 2 doesn't have as much boobs in it. There's some, but not as much. But Diablo 1, even though, like, Succubi literally had their boobs just hanging out, they were so small and undefined that, you know. I mean, I know that some of it had to do with
Charge the courtyard. Leave none of
computer RPGs being more niche back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, I have a feeling when they made the first Diablo, they didn't think it would be quite such a phenomenon. Or when you go far enough back in these games, and there was just boob.
You were always going to get your money's worth out of these games, that's for sure.
Something I always find funny is when, now don't get me wrong, the game is full of, like, you know, hot genies and stuff like that. But, in Might and Magic 7, water elementals are essentially naked, scaly mermaids. But they all have the creature of the Black Lagoon head.
Mm.
of the Imperial Legion.
Oh, well, one of them followed me in. Cool.
Hey man, at least she's not covering dead ass. I do feel like isn't there? Maybe it was just the jankiness, but I feel like in the original game, Fewer and Fewer would follow you as you got farther in, but that might have just been them dying or having a hard time following the way in. I remember coming in here at one point and being like, "There's really got to be something to loot in here," and I was like, "Oh, not much."
Yeah.
Of course, I know there's a lot of games that are good at this kind of stuff, but this is one of those games that's good at, especially when you're first playing it, kind of making you feel like a combination of what's going on is really urgent, and you need to get on the other side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of like Skyrim, if you really avoid the story, you actually avoid a lot of trouble for a long time. Because to not have Oblivion Gates, you have to not go and talk to Joffrey, right?
No, you gotta not go to Kvatch.
Oh, okay.
Because you can go to Kvatch without talking to Joffrey.
Okay.
But the first time you go to Kvatch, that's like that. It drops the first Oblivion Gate.
I wonder how close to the Kvatch you could get and activate that. Because I know that there could be some Oblivion Gates just out in the middle of nowhere. I remember having a level where I was like, I'm tired of Oblivion Gates. I'm just going to walk through the wilderness. And I was like out on some ridge and just like, I was like, damn it.
Yeah. Alright, well, we managed to return the ring, save Kvatch. Did a lot, honestly.
You can start getting accosted by sycophants in the streets.
Yeah. We'll start doing the arena next, I guess.
Where is the Count? Why is he not with you?
It's probably a different voice actor. The guy who does the arena always made me think of the voice actor for Thorn and Batman.
Ah.
If only we'd gotten here sooner. This is indeed a dark day for all of us left. But I thank you for risking your own life to help us. Did you find the Count's ring by... At least, this is safe. Thank you. Here. Take this. Bye. You have my ear, citizen.
Alright. Go pick up Martin.
Talk about a lifestyle choice.
You like that just sudden wardrobe change?
Yeah. Yeah, remember, he just hangs out there now, right?
Yes. Because you have to go back to him later and be like, hey, could you help us out with the Oblivion Gates? He's like, well, shit, there's nothing else here, so sure.
Yeah. On that run I did where I got really high level relatively recently, that was one of the parts of the game that gave me the most trouble, just because all of those dangers spawning in kept crashing the game.
State your business, citizen. Stay safe, citizen. These
Wayne Priory then.
Alright, kids. This is where I'm going to call it. I'm getting tired. Getting sleepy. It was super fun hanging out with Nerd Leader. Sitting here goofing on this game and how it's super janky. I'll see what I'm playing this on Game Pass right now on PC, of course. The peasants that have to play this on console. I hope this is a fun game. If you like Oblivion, you'll like this. I just want a patch to kind of fix some things.
How can I be of service?
Maybe get me into 1.0. Would be great.
I'm sure the community's working on that right now.
Thank God for
I mean, I actually saw before everything became the new version of it. I just recently watched some video of someone going through Oblivion for the first time.
Yeah.
And they had to do this big spiel at the beginning of like, no, I'm not using all of the community patches because I'm trying to experience actual Oblivion. I don't want to experience a fixed product. I want to experience the final product.
I mean, that's in general what we do.
Yeah.
So. Alright. I am John.
Is a Nerd Leader?
And this was fun. We'll have to do this again sometime. Alright, later.